Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Capture the People podcast. I'm here with a very special guest. Well, we are. My boy Alex right there. But yeah, go ahead and let the people know who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Aiden Caughy. I go by Caughy, and I'm a singer and producer.
Dope. Awesome. We really are super excited to have you on here. Like, we worked with you for ever since Capture the Fear. We had you perform. That was such like a great entryway to the alternative scene in general. And the clout that you have behind you, your fans, like the fact that they always show up to all your events, like it's amazing. How do you feel about that? Like, how does that make you feel seeing all those people, the same faces and all that stuff?
It feels amazing because there's definitely a good amount of people, familiar faces that I see at a lot of shows, and it's very nice. It's very affirming to me as an artist, a performer, to see people like not only come but return after.
But also like with your performing, that energy that you bring.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's just, I don't know. It, like when I first saw you perform at Capture the Fear, the energy you brought when you jumped in the crowd, we're going crazy. Like we had that B-roll from that. Like it's just so nice.
I appreciate that. It's very nice. It's a great time. Yeah,
that's one thing you're really good at is keeping that attention. And knowing how to really control a crowd. Like as a performer, not even just as an artist, like you're really good at performing. See, Alex was telling me about your last event where you did something crazy. And Alex, do you want to talk about it?
So we were actually at that event. It was an Ape Opalist event, and I remember going on social media later that night because we left a little early after Rod's performance and just shaving Caughy's head. I'm like, what the heck? And then like you would go back and perform, and then they would go back and cutting your hair. Like, what kind of like went through your head, I guess, with doing that? Like,
well, it was actually something I wanted to do a long time ago because I used to have longer hair. I used to have kind of like a mullet.
I seen that.
And I wanted to do it with that kind of hair because I thought that would be more of like an extreme change. And I was gonna do it at a show that actually got canceled, and I was like, damn it, I'm just gonna buzz my hair anyway. So I ended up doing that. But then that show, I was like, I kind of want to buzz it because it was long enough to buzz it again. It was like a little bit longer. And I packed my little like hair clippers in my bag, and I didn't know if I was gonna do it for sure. Until I was performing, because I was like, I'm just gonna decide in the moment if it feels right. And I was performing my song Shatter, and I was like, I want to start shaving my head, and it was really nice. And someone in the front row like asked for the clippers, so I gave it to them, and they started shaving, and then like it got passed around, and like Willie came from out of the booth.
Wait,
and,
what?
Like,
I did not see that.
Yeah, it was really nice. Everyone kind of got some licks in. I'm shaving my head.
Yeah.
Was the hair long?
It was like a few inches longer because I hadn't shaved it in like a few months. But.
I could only imagine like with like those type of clippers.
Yeah,
because I feel like those are for like facial hair though.
Yeah, but didn't that shit hurt?
Like pull? Did it
wasn't
pull?
it pulling on your hair?
No, there was a guard on it, so it didn't hurt.
Oh, okay,
at all. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like
it sucks that we didn't stay there the whole time either to see that in person because we were there.
Yeah.
We were just there for after Rod's performance we left.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, my set was on pretty late. I was on like close to midnight. It was,
really?
It was pretty late. Yeah.
But man, do you feel like you have other events coming up?
There should be some events coming up in the new year. I've been talking to some people about some booking, but nothing too crazy planned. There was a period in the summer where there was like there was like a show every week, but it's kind of dialed down with like the cooler weather. And but yeah, no, nothing too crazy going on, but I am excited about performing in the new year.
For sure. And that's one thing, you're always performing, I feel like.
Yeah, I try.
At least multiple times a month, for sure.
Absolutely.
How many events have you been to total, do you think?
I actually lost count. I
done so many. I lost count.
I had a goal of mine last year, about this time last year, like late December of 2020. I set like a bunch of like goals for 2021 to do. And in fact, one of them was actually to get interviewed. So thank you for having me. It's very nice.
Oh, is this your first like interview?
This is my second interview, but definitely my first like podcast. The other interview I did for 88 Sessions, which is through Album 88, and that was like more of like a post-performance interview. So this is way more like a relaxed like conversation. Like that was way more there was set questions and that was it. But yeah, no, that, and I had a goal of performing 10 times this year, and I hit that at some point. I think I might have hit that in July or August, but
Shit.
yeah, and I've kind of stopped counting since then. But yeah, I would say about maybe like 12 to 15 shows.
Do you mind sharing any more goals that you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you achieve most of them?
Yeah, there was I think only 2 of them I didn't achieve, and that was the 2 that I didn't achieve was I had some like Instagram follower goal, like it was like 4K on Instagram, which I knew that was a long shot.
Yeah.
But
Hey, say your goals. Hey.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think another goal of mine was to release 2 EPs, and I only released 1 EP. But I decided to like start working on an album instead of another EP. So it kind of like that goal wasn't accomplished because I kind of changed my goals, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some of the goals that were also reached. I definitely wanted to get recognized in public. That was like something I really wanted to happen, and it did. I got it, not a ton of times, but there were a few times where strangers would be like, "Hey, are you Caughy? Like, I really love your music." And a few times, like, people would, like, take photos with me, which was, like, really...
What?
Like, I felt...
That must have felt crazy.
Yeah, no, very surreal. Just, yeah, like, if younger Aiden could see that, they would
Really?
freak out. Yeah.
Fuck. Did you get emotional?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it just means a lot when, like, someone that I don't know is, like, I love your music, by the way. Like, I listen to your EP all the time. Like, and they kind of, like, tell me some, like, personal connection that they have with it. And it's, yeah.
Benny, that's how, like, I felt. Like, that's how I felt when we saw the video of those kids playing our podcast in the school on a projector. Like, so we had this guy, Trap Pablo, last week, and he sent us a video of kids in like some school they were from watching us our podcast like on the projector with the white screen down. Like, I was like, dude,
that's
like,
incredible. That's
I love that. Yeah. Like, I love that.
For sure. I mean, when I saw that, it was crazy. I know before that, a friend of mine that I went to school with, he's like watching it with a bunch of people at work. And it's like insane because those are the people that are sending it to us. But like, imagine all the other people like watching it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, to have someone like come up to you, that must have felt really good.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. I'm sure y'all totally understand it with the whole like video thing. Like, it's just like, wow. Like, because you're working at something.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah,
that you've never felt.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's something new to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're like putting something into something, like you're working towards something, and then it being well received by people is like a very like affirming thing. You know, like it feels great.
Yeah, I feel like with any creative or anyone starting off anything, you're definitely starting off with no momentum, 0, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're dragging time or whatever. But I feel like once things start picking up, like you just start seeing things, and once you see your dreams and all that stuff come to fruition, it's the most insane feeling, because we've been feeling that a lot recently. And I'm sure you've definitely been feeling that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's insane seeing things that you never really... I don't know, but I'm not going to speak for you, but we can get into that maybe. But when you first start off, there's a lot of times where you find it hard to believe in what you're doing. Like,
for sure.
Really to keep going, you know?
Absolutely. That's a great point to make. Yeah, that's like way more reassuring to myself that like, hey, I should be continuing to do this. Yeah. You know, especially because when I was younger, not having everything be well received that you put out, like whether you put out a song that, you know, people say like, hey, this is shit, this is trash. Going from that to like people like being at your shows, like singing your lyrics, like you can't describe how that feels. You know what I mean? And like it is just like house shows in Atlanta and these like underground like small venue events, but it's like
that's how it starts.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's exactly
how
exactly
it starts.
But
for sure.
Yeah.
So then, do you still find it hard sometimes? Like, I mean, if you want to talk about that, like, do you find it hard to like find that motivation to just keep going sometimes?
Yeah, no, I don't mind talking about that at all. To be honest with you, that is not something that I've felt nearly as much as when I was younger, and we were talking a little bit about this before, but started making music in high school, and I actually started like making music on like type beats on YouTube. I started as like a SoundCloud rapper. Like, I knew a lot of people that were doing it. I thought it was really cool. And I'm not gonna lie, it was not good. And I had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, a lot of people like at school were like, this is shit. And I remember like in high school, it's weird to think about this, like going to class and like being incredibly nervous that like my music was gonna be brought up and like made fun of or like played in the library or some shit like that, you know? So to go from that to now being older and being way more, I don't know, I'm way more creatively driven than I was when I was younger, just because, and again, just being in an environment where I'm surrounded by so many creative and like-minded and supportive people that it really pushed me to keep doing what I do. Like, for example, my roommate Spencer Mayevich, just all my closest friends just do so much for me, and like it's such a, I don't know, it's a great environment that I just did not have in high school nearly on the same level of like people believing in me, and I'm also believing in them, and just kind of pushing each other.
Yeah.
To do great
Okay.
things.
I mean, especially as a young creative. By the way, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19.
Yeah, I'm 19. Yeah.
Super young creative. Yeah, we're 21, 22.
Gotcha. Very cool.
But so you've been doing this for about 4 years, really? Do you
Yeah.
consider that? Or what do you consider your first official start?
I would say, because I started making, like I was telling you, like the SoundCloud songs, was doing that sophomore year of high school. So yeah, about 4 years ago. But I didn't start producing, which in my head is a big shift for my career, until about 3 years ago. About 3 years ago this time, I started working on my first self-produced song, which, yeah, I feel like was just no shade to any artist that don't self-produce, because, you know, everyone does their own thing, whether it be like rappers, vocalists, you know. But whenever I started like making like my own beats and stuff, that's when I really felt like I was
in control.
In control, exactly, yeah, in control.
Yeah, Rodrigo and I we were talking about that actually. When I was telling him, like, I personally, it's not like it's one is better than the other, but it's kind of like, think about someone who's playing guitar versus someone who can sing and play guitar. Like,
yeah.
There's one is more complicated than the other, but that one who can do both can really create their own original piece. They don't have to rely on the other one.
Exactly. Yeah. And for me personally, because I still know so many artists that don't self-produce and are amazing artists because, you know, like, not to discredit the thought, but for me personally, creatively, really the production side of it, that's when it really started to inspire me, and I really started to like get way more expressive about it rather than just like something that I was doing like just having fun, you know what I mean, with like the type beats. But yeah.
For sure. The type beats, what would you say is like your type of beat that you're looking for?
Currently now?
Yeah. Or well, when you were starting
at
off,
the time,
like, what were your inspirations?
What did you search up?
Yeah.
I was looking up like Lil Uzi type beats.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking up like synthy rap type beats, and then I got more into like lo-fi type beats and more into like the bedroom pop type beats, like Claro, like those kind of type beats. And then when I got to that point, I was like, I could just be making this. Like, I could be producing this, and that's when I produced it. And again, I don't know how much of my older music y'all know about, but my first song that I produced was called Walnut Creek, and it's very different than, like, at least I feel like sonically, than what I do now, because it was not nearly as like dancey as I like to go about it now, but at the time it was way more like.
So you produce all your music?
Yes, yeah.
Anything that comes out?
Yeah.
Everything that's out right now is yours?
Everything 100%?
That's
100%, yeah.
I actually did not. I personally did not know that. I knew you produced a lot of your music, but I didn't know you solely did.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the newer stuff, and including like the 2 singles that I've recently put out, Boots and Cats, Shatter.
Great songs.
Thank you.
Great songs.
Thank you.
It's a vibe for sure.
Thank you. Those are all self-engineered as well, so that's completely like mixed, mastered, recorded in my room.
That must have been a fun session.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no,
I know. I'm always watching your stories of you just going hard, like DJ Caughy the other night.
Yeah.
Sometimes DJ's got to sit in a chair. I started laughing.
But yeah, no, because my most recent EP, Cosmo, I did not engineer that.
Okay.
Though I did produce it. It was engineered by my buddy Dan.
Okay.
But yeah, this album that I'm working on currently will be all self-engineered and produced.
People just walked in. But yeah.
For sure. I mean, judging by your beats, I definitely I can tell like a couple artists that maybe I can see you having inspirations from. But what would you say are some of your like biggest inspirations?
Ooh, some of my biggest inspirations, I would say,
that influence your music. You know,
I really like Tori Moa and what he did with his project Outer Peace. I really like this kind of like funk dance project. Really appreciate that. Of course, growing up, like in middle school, which is really the time like that I think of like really like discovering music for myself. I was listening to a lot of like Deadmau5, a lot of Daft Punk, a lot of Skrillex, a lot of Zedd, a lot of just like EDM. Like I have so many like memories just like being on the bus in middle school, like with my saxophone, like headphones in, like bumping some dubstep. But yeah,
blasting that bangarang.
Exactly.
Played saxophone?
Yeah, I played saxophone.
So did I.
Really? What kind of sax do you play?
I mean, I only did it in 3rd grade for like a year, but it was just cool.
Yeah. No, sax is a nice instrument. But yeah, no, and I would say some other influences. I don't know. I listen to, I would say vocally, excuse me, I listen to Ollie MN a lot, which I believe he's British. I really appreciate what he does vocally and just like his kind of like bedroom pop style and just like, cause like I don't know, the bedroom production aspect of it is like really where I find like the most inspiration. I really like the whole like DIY, do it yourself sound. Like it's not the best quality, but you can tell that like someone made it rather than a group of people made it. You know what I mean? And yeah, that for sure. I really like Puma Blue. Puma Blue is one of my favorite artists, and like his vocals are just some of my favorite in the world. But yeah,
that's cool. I don't know about the last artist, but definitely ever since I started listening to Gus Dapperton, like my YouTube algorithm has just been booming with that bedroom pop. I really fuck with it, especially because indie artists, you can't like they make songs that may not be something you want to blast like on a Friday night or whatever. Yeah. But it's shit that you'll never hear anywhere else.
Exactly, for sure.
But like, and then for you, do you feel like you have an original sound, or do you feel like you maybe kind of mix and matched a couple of things?
I don't know. That's something honestly I haven't thought a ton about recently. Recently I've been thinking, now that I'm working on this album, I've never really like been sitting on as much music as I'm currently sitting on.
Yeah.
Like the most I've been sitting on before this was like 5 songs when I was making an EP, but right now I'm sitting on about like 15 songs, and I'm like figuring out like, oh, there's like I kind of have a formula down for like when I like to make songs, and hopefully not to make all the songs sound the same, but there's definitely like tricks and like patterns that I just kind of like do without thinking, like that's comfortable for me. So I feel like with that in mind, I feel like my sound might not necessarily be completely original. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's making, you know, some like dance bedroom pop. But yeah, I do like to think that how my sound is kind of a combination of different artists that I've liked to listen to. For example, like in high school when I was listening to bedroom pop compared to when I was younger, really listening to like more EDM, like it's definitely there. Like for example, Boots and Cats sounds very like, it's obviously like a very like electronic song, but to my ears at least, to me, it still has that kind of like bedroom sound to it with like the synths and just kind of like the cuteness of it, for lack of a better way to describe it. But yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely think that you are very original, especially when comparing you to anyone else that is at a show. You definitely have your own style.
I
appreciate
for sure.
Yeah,
you stand out a lot for sure. Especially you used to have was it yellow hair and orange dots or vice versa?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's what he had. That's what you had to capture the fear, right?
Yeah. That was really like, you just don't give a fuck. You just do your own thing, you know.
Thank you.
I really fuck with that. That's something that I really appreciate in people, like just the fact that they don't give a shit and just kind of do their own thing.
Absolutely. But, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. But to show our appreciation even more, Alex, do you maybe want to whip out something special that we have
for you, bro?
Have for you?
Oh, thank you very much.
Got that for you? Of course.
Thank you so much. I'll show the camera.
Benny's wearing one.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of these too, for sure.
Thank you so much.
I had to represent my Bills today because they won. So.
Fuck. Thank you so much.
We try to give a guest on the show to have some sort of gift.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great.
But we hope you wear that.
For sure.
But
that's the reason why.
Yeah, really.
Promo, absolutely.
So I know that you dropped an album recently. Well, not that recently, but you kind of want to go over that and talk about that a little bit.
For sure. Are you referring to my to Cosmo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put Cosmo out last April. I believe it was like April 9th. And it was 5 tracks. I had one feature, which was my buddy Marcus, Hall Sinatra. And that was, I don't know. Is there anything in particular you want to know about it?
I kind of want to just go over like what was your whole dude, I'm so baked right now. I'm sorry.
Like when it comes to like making music in general, what would you say the first step of the process is? Like, I know every artist has their unique style or the unique process, but you were talking about how you kind of have
15
steps
songs
and stuff.
And you have like 15 songs. Like, what makes like you pick certain songs?
Yeah,
that's a great question. Because for Cosmo, is very much so. I was not really working on any songs that weren't going to be on the project. Like I was working on those 5 songs. And I knew that each of those songs were going to be on the project. Like there weren't any like throwaways. Like, I'm going to scrap this one. This is like never going to be put out. For the project I'm currently working on, which I'm hoping to drop next spring, is probably going to be like, there's going to be songs that I finish that aren't going to make it. And that's a position I've never really been in as an artist. And I think that's really because especially because I'm like self-engineering as well, it takes a lot of time and it's a big commitment, and especially like with producing it, just kind of digesting it. Like I really like to like work on a song and then like listen to it for like hours. Like I'll just sit in my room, listen to a song for 2 hours and be like, just critically listen to it, and like I won't even like change it at all. I'm just gonna be like digesting it, and so it takes a lot of time. Like I couldn't tell you how many times I just like listened, whether like with the most recent songs, whether that be like Shatter or Boots and Cats, like Hot, and I just like sit in my room, whether I'd be like dancing to it, I'd be laying on the floor to it, I would be crying to it. It's just like I just like need to like soak it in, which is really cool. But for Cosmo, it was very much so like every song that I was working on was gonna make it. Because just like I was living in the dorm at the time, I was going to class, like I didn't have a ton of free time, so it was really like all my time was being invested in this 5-track EP, and yeah, and it wasn't, you know, it's not, I guess it's not an album, it's just like an EP, but like that in my head, like it is like a project, you know, it's very much so like Cosmo was a time. And as far as it went for like the process of it, I definitely mostly started with instrumentals and then wrote to those instrumentals. And yeah, each song off that project felt really different from each other. Like for example, the intro track Distance, I produced and recorded my first weekend in Atlanta, and it was really just like, really about just like kind of like moving and like being in the city and like being in a new place and kind of like letting go of like what you've known, and like, but it's not like in a sad way, because I was very happy to be in Atlanta and like start this like new chapter of my life, but it was definitely just like reflecting on that. And then there are other songs on the project like Glass Walls, where I kind of just really delved into like identity and kind of went from that. I produced and wrote Glass Walls while I was traveling for Thanksgiving last year, and I remember I was in like an Airbnb in Savannah, Georgia, and I was working on the beat on my laptop and like wrote the lyrics out to it. And yeah, it just, that project has meant a lot to me, and because that's really what I'm mainly performing now, as it's like the most recent like project, because it would be like that, and then again like the newest singles, and yeah, it just, the project means a lot.
That's great. I mean, and the work shows for it, like the quality of what you're making is really showing for it. But
thank you.
I know earlier, like off camera, we were trying not to talk too much because we wanted to save it for the podcast. It always happens, but we were talking about you're originally from where? From
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And so that transitions from Dallas to Atlanta. Like, what do you feel like this is the biggest difference?
Ooh, well, I'll tell you that because between Dallas and Atlanta, I lived in outside of Athens, Georgia. I went to high school out there. It's in Bogart, Georgia. I don't know if anyone in here has heard of that town. Probably not. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads. But it was a very small town, and it was a big shift moving from Dallas to, I'll just say Athens, to Bogart to Athens. Just because it was like way more country, which is, I feel like ironic, because when you think of Texas, it's like, you kind of have this like image in your head like, oh, that's really country. But in Texas, I lived in like the dense suburbs, and it was way more diverse than when I moved to the school in Bogart. And yeah, it was definitely a big adjustment, and I would say that adjustment was pretty crazy. Just in like, I'd say the biggest, like you said, difference that I noticed was like the amount of people, and just like moving from like the dense suburbs to like the middle of nowhere was also noticed, like it was just like way darker at night. I remember like my first night like living in Athens, like I was scared to like go out to the car because I thought I was like in a horror movie.
Like anything could pop out at
exactly,
any time.
You know, it's
I know exactly
terrifying.
what you're talking about. My girlfriend, she stays near Savannah, so driving down like late nights, I prefer driving at night in general, just because, you know, fuck traffic.
I do, but can't see the cops.
But yeah, there's parts here like outside of Atlanta that just become straight up woods, and there's zero lights. There's that one gas station, but like
it's
no
eerie,
one's there.
Yeah, it's eerie as hell. Yeah.
Fuck. But I love going to Athens too, just because, you know, UGA is such a diverse place too. I feel like it's so much shit going on over there, especially with like the college students and hitting up downtown Athens on a weekend.
Oh yeah, no, downtown Athens, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I really enjoy downtown because I was like living like 20 minutes, 30 minutes out of downtown. It's where my parents still live there, and it's very nice visiting them. Like I just visited them yesterday, just to like leave the city and like kind of catch my breath for a little bit. But yeah, at the time as a teenager, I definitely felt really isolated. Like living in high school, I was really excited to live in a city and meet a lot of people So like moving to Atlanta and finally like having that as like a reality.
What age did you come?
I moved to Atlanta at 18.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so last year I moved August of 2020.
So that you moved over here when you were starting college?
College,
or?
yeah, for GSU,
Okay.
yeah.
You go to GSU, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, if you don't notice, we can't notice because it's just a building right there, but we're actually like around GSU campus too right now. But shit, how's that like?
It's nice. it's really nice. Yeah. It's my first year of college was all online with COVID, but I was still living on campus, which is a weird dynamic. Cause like, but it was honestly really cool. And the first year of college for me is really like really good memories of like being in the dorms with my friends and just like really for classes we just had to like be on our laptops every so often, so like we would go to the study room together, but really any like actual college classes hasn't been until this semester, which has been a way different vibe, but it's been way more like, oh, I feel like
it's like you're just starting.
You're doing your thing.
No, exactly. This feels like my first year of like actual college, which is really cool.
What's your major?
Music management.
Music management?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Mm-hmm. So you're working on both school and actual real life experience in the music industry. That's really fucking cool. That's good for you. Good for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Shit. One thing I know for sure, when I used to go to GSU too, but the difference between me in high school and going here to GSU is the diversity. Like, I came from like a school that it was like 83% Hispanic at one point. Same mindset, same kind of crowd mentality. Everybody's just doing the same thing. But then coming to GSU, you realize like there's so many different people, so many fucking different places to be, groups to be in. And I think identity is just like the one thing that you get to kind of decide for yourself once you go to places like GSU or Atlanta in general.
Yeah.
Like you can really literally do whatever the fuck you want, and people
really
can
find like who you really are in college.
And then I feel like people are super accepting.
Like, I went to a preppy, private, you know what I mean, Catholic high school. So like, like it wasn't just like anything like this, you know what I mean? Didn't have tattoos, any of this. And I kind of really found myself in college, you know what I mean?
It's amazing. I totally know what you mean. And like, that really is reality for it, because I remember moving to Atlanta and kind of having like culture shock of like, oh, holy shit, like there's a lot of different people here, and people are like way less judgy, it's way less cliquey. It doesn't seem to be as much of like a uniform expected on people, like this is
there's
how you
no
dress.
Norms put into place. Everyone does their own thing. Because
in high school they're very much so, at least in the high school I went to me, in my opinion, there was a very prevalent like uniform, like the guys dress like this, the girls dress like that, this is like how you acted, and moving to which at the time I felt so dysphoric, I felt really out of place for it, and then moving to college and surrounding myself with so many like-minded, just like open-minded people, it's been really liberating in a lot of ways. Yeah.
And I mean, you can tell just by mostly everybody, especially in the scene that we're kind of working with, people don't give a fuck about what people think. They just kind of do their thing. They just do their thing, and for you have your own look, your own style. You don't really like look like anyone else that I would know. So I think that's something really cool, something that we're trying to work towards too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As far as this is the first time we're gonna ask this on our podcast, but as far as pronouns, you identify as what?
I'm non-binary or gender fluid, gender queer. All those terms feel good for me. But I use they them pronouns.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I know Alex and I were talking about that earlier in the car. We both come from backgrounds where that was never a big thing. Yeah. And it's not to say that we're not, like, right now we want to respect that. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's just, I think that's something that we were talking about in the car is just not knowing really how to tell someone that we're not trying to offend anyone, but we're trying to still learn in the process and respect the pronouns and all that. But what do you call it, Alex? I think there was something about the binary
just like
identity.
I mean, for you, I feel like you might be the best person to kind of explain the whole thing for me, because I don't have that many friends that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, no, I would love to talk about this. Again, I can't speak for all non-binary people. I can't speak for all queer people, but I can speak for myself. And I know that, I use they, them pronouns. I don't identify as a man. I don't identify as a woman. yeah, I feel a lot of issues with the gender binary. I don't have any issues with people that identify in the gender binary. But yeah, I find whenever I've been identified as a man and people have socialized me as a man, I felt very dysphoric, and I've definitely had to limit myself, how I express myself. Yep. Not that I'm saying that, you know, if you're a man, you can't express yourself any way that you want, but just personally how I identify and how I like to take up space.
So
but
do you get upset like if people?
No, I don't get upset if people like use the incorrect pronouns for me. I'd say I get upset when I've corrected someone and it's clearly like disrespected. Okay. But I don't get upset about any kind of like, I guess, ignorance of it. If someone's like, hey, like how y'all are like, we're new to this. Yeah. There's no offense received from me on that end. But I've definitely been in situations where I've told someone my pronouns, they've continued to like disregard it, and they've like made jokes about it, and that's just offensive, you know. Exactly. For sure. Because it's just about respect at the end of the day. But yeah. Is there anything in particular that y'all would want to ask me?
No, I mean that was pretty much it. I come from Buffalo, New York. We don't use any of that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's different for me. It's different for me because coming to Atlanta, a lot of people use non-binary pronouns. Yeah. So it's just new to me.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think personally, like, in general, I always go by the motto of, you know, anyone can do whatever they want, just as long as they're not harming anyone. Yeah. But we just felt like we needed to talk about that just because a lot of our audience come from like hip hop, rap backgrounds. Like they don't really ever talk about that, and it's never a big thing. But I think it's important to bring it up more and more. 19 years old, 20, 21 years old, like we're in about that age where back when we were little, it wasn't as accepting.
For sure, absolutely.
It wasn't a social norm.
Yeah, no. And believe me, like being from Texas, we talked a little bit about this before as well. Like that was unheard of for me as well. Like I didn't know about anyone that used any pronouns other than he, him, and she, her until a little bit in high school, but really not until I moved to Atlanta, and I just met a lot of different people. And it's totally like it's just a lot about just like learning. And because I don't know, like I remember in high school hearing a lot of jokes like, I don't know, making like oh, did you assume my gender jokes, or like I identify as an attack helicopter, kind of like that shit. I'm sure y'all heard that as well.
Yeah, I've seen like people like say like I identify as like a fish. Like shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's like, just like
that's just like throwing shade or throwing bullshit at like
I feel like it's just people. It's just invalidating to people's identity, which I think is just like you're just being a jerk. You know what I mean? Like there's no way around it. Like just think about what you're doing, because like I'm not gonna invalidate anyone's identity unless I guess that identity is built on hate or something. But like, you know, if you tell me like, oh, you know, I identify as a man, I use he, him, and be like, good to know. That's how I, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know. And I just wish that more people had respect for that, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I believe it's just because we're going through like a transition phase where right now it's kind of like we're working towards making it more accepting and more normal. And then I feel like later on in life, it just like with anything, like back before when women were allowed to have jobs or like society didn't allow that,
changing the norm.
It's just kind of that transition phase. You're still gonna have some people who like don't really, you know,
for sure, don't
know the most about it. But then after a while, you kind of just adapt and you realize, you know, this is, you know.
But it's kind of like cool to like say like, oh, we were a part of that phase, like the transition.
Oh,
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge transition.
Yeah, like a lot of my friends that we know, like they're all kind of no one. I don't see any hate towards it. I don't see anything weird about it. But I feel like if you go a couple years back, like, you know, it's kind of like you'll get flamed or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
for sure.
No, for sure. Like especially when like my school, for sure. Like in high school.
Oh yeah, no, high school. I couldn't imagine being out as non-binary at my high school at the time, because there was like a certain point. If you don't mind me continuing.
Keep going.
So I remember in high school, I wrote this song called Pink and Blue. And that was really, I remember like thinking at the time, I was not out at the time, as like, hey, I'm non-binary. I didn't feel comfortable presenting myself that way. But thinking back to how I felt at the time, I knew at the time that something was afoot, that I felt a certain type of way, but I was not in an environment where I felt like I could truly be myself. And it made me happy because, excuse me, in a lot of ways, music was my outlet for that, was the way for me to like freely express myself. And
that's great. I mean, knowing that for some artists, their music is their therapy. That's a huge thing I see a lot, especially in my boy Rod too. You can hear it in his lyrics that the shit that he's talking about is shit that he's been through for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I say that because guys, Rod's like in the background somewhere. I can't really see because of the
Rod.
lights, but he's somewhere here. Fuck. Yeah, but long term, like, what do you think is the overall goal? Do you see yourself still making music? Or are you trying to do something else?
Management.
Oh,
yeah.
So many like versatile.
I would say, yeah, I would say some goals of mine is to be able to do as much as I can, especially like pursuing a job in the music industry. I feel like you have to really just like know as much as possible and just like fit in where you can. So whether that be that I end up being a recording artist, whether I end up being an engineer, whether I be a manager, I really just
want to do something in the industry.
Absolutely,
Would you
because
consider yourself a workaholic?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I consider this motherfucker a workaholic. He does not get any sleep.
I mean,
I don't even know how he gets to work every day. He works at 6:30 in the morning.
No.
Every day at 6:29. Oh, he just strolls in, sits down, and doesn't say anything.
No, I very much so consider myself a workaholic, and it sometimes is definitely to an unhealthy level, but there's something about like grinding that really is so.
And especially like if you love it and you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
You want to push even more, and it's just like.
I will tell you that the Shatter and Boots and Cats video were shot 12 hours apart. And the Shatter music video was shot at like 2 a.m. Boots and Cats Boots and Cats video was shot at like 11 a.m. the next morning. What the fuck? Like I remember getting like 3 hours of sleep that night and I loved it. Like I woke up smiling because I was like, it's time to shoot another video. Yeah. And I just remember like coming back from like finishing the Boots and Cats visuals and being like just so like I love that feeling of like, it's just working. And you know that definitely can be unhealthy in a lot of ways, definitely, because like I'll find myself like, I don't know if y'all can relate to this, but like relaxing and like getting mad at myself because I feel like I'm not doing enough.
I was literally saying that to my girlfriend today. I was like, I have to get up, I have to go do something, like because I'm so used to like working consistently now. I had to get up because I didn't want to relax. And that's like a first time for me in like a while.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah,
I think that's a huge thing that comes up in cultures like Japan or here, the United States, where there's a lot of pressure to. There's a difference between feeling like you need to be doing something and you wanting to make that effort to do something. I think because I think it's a real addiction, like feeling like you need to have to consistently working. It can get to the point where you're forgetting to eat, you're not sleeping, you're throwing your family away like they're just not there, and you're just isolating yourself, no social life. Like that can get really fucking nasty, especially at such an early age because you just latch onto that. But I think it's just kind of like an effect that you get after you find a direction that you want to go, like like whether it be a career or a business that you're starting. Yeah, you know.
And I feel like it's just really important to surround yourself with people that are working hard, but also just keeping you in check and making sure that you're taking care of yourself and they're taking care of themselves. Because that's what matters, is making sure that you're healthy and happy. And also, like, we have enough time to also be getting shit done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That's a huge thing that I talk about.
Like you get the time management down. Yeah. And you have a schedule. So it just flows a lot easier.
Oh, for sure. But
you mentioned like the whole like forgetting to eat thing and forgetting to sleep thing. Like that's something that I've done several times where I've been like, oh shit, it's been a day and I haven't slept or ate, and it's nothing out of like.
Well, look at all of us. We're skin and fucking bone.
Yeah. No, it's nothing about like my body like not wanting to eat, like feeling self-conscious for me personally, but like it's just that I forget to eat. Like I realize like shit, it's 6 p.m. and I haven't eaten anything today. It can be really hard, and it's good to be around people that are like, no, you just check in. You know what I mean?
No, have people to really like make sure you're good. People that care about you, and I think it's great that. Once you have friends that work in the same industry as you, it's not only are you spending time with them, but you guys are also having shit getting done.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to like I told Alex this, and I was telling we work with a lot of artists. Like I shoot music videos for so many artists, and there's so many cool people that I want to talk to and be friends with. But I just had to be honest and tell them like, hey, like I just don't have the time to like just go hang out. You know, like if we're gonna do something, let's try to at least shoot a vlog or maybe write something or just do something so that we both benefit from it long term. But yeah, man, I think one thing for sure I want to say about the workaholism or whatever.
Workaholism.
I was saying workaholism. whatever the fuck it is. I think it's important to just remember, like, eat, sleep, and just manage your time, or else it's gonna consume you for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like, and I don't know if y'all agree with this or relate to this. And this is something that I remember my parents kind of have to like sit down with me and talk to me about. I feel like it's really valuable to understand that it's okay to say no to things. Like plans, like whether it be like, do you want to do this show tonight, or do you want to come to this like session tonight? Like, what do you? And you kind of have to sometimes be like, no, tonight I'm just gonna stay in and take some like alone time. Because we all need that, you know. And it's easy to kind of forget about that, especially because living in Atlanta and everything is just so like high paced. Because like the thing is, like, there's so many people here, they're so talented, that there is someone that's just as talented as you are that's working harder, and just having that mindset can push you, but also can be very like can make you very anxious.
You see that a lot in sports too. Like,
absolutely.
Trying to always if I'm not working out right now, like someone out there is, and I'm gonna be behind them or whatever.
Exactly.
But I mean, yeah, that's such a huge thing. Like the psychological toll that it takes on you when you feel like if you say no, you're gonna miss out on an opportunity. Like, I don't want to close the door and say no because maybe this might lead to something or whatever. But yeah, knowing when to just be like, no, I think I need to just actually catch up on some sleep.
For sure.
Or I need to go talk to my family or whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
Shit like that. Yeah, so special appearance, Rodrigo.
Hello.
Or how do you pronounce your artist name?
My artist name? Yeah. It's Rodrigo. My real name is Rodrigo. You know, I've always had people butcher my name, so I've always I kind of gravitated to changing it up like that.
Oh,
and
bro.
in a sense, it's like Roger's ego.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But yeah. Pleasure to be here. Excited to be here with both of you.
It's nice being here with you as well.
No, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Rodrigo, just like Broke Boy Faint, they're their own artists. They have their own thing going, but they're also affiliated with CTP. So we definitely want to give him some more camera time and, you know, just have you guys kind of see what he has to offer.
Yeah, but like definitely like your music, outstanding.
Thank you.
Production is amazing.
Thank you.
But I definitely wanted to get into like your single that you just dropped with a New Boy.
For sure, absolutely.
And I know you guys are working on a tape together.
We are, yeah.
And I've luckily been privileged enough to see a little bit of it here, and it's fucking amazing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Even just the concept of the song, you know, you want to get into that and like give
absolutely.
us an insight of how that came to be, because I know there was such a switch in the transition.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about that. So, Spencer, New Boy, we started working on that song in May when we had some buddies over that were shooting a short film that consisted of like random interviews, and they asked if they could just get a time lapse of us working on music for like B-roll for their movie. So Spencer and I started working on it, and we started laying down that acoustic bit in the beginning where he kind of has that like verse. And then I remember we didn't really like, we loved it obviously, but we were like, yeah, this is cool to do. And then I remember vividly, and this was a really cool feeling, I won't lie, is that I laid down the synth switch up, which I think is like a minute or so into the song. Like the transition that you were asking about, I remember laying that down, and there was verbally like a, oh shit, from the people that were in the studio with us. And that kind of like, Spencer and I were like, okay, and we just like locked in and just like, kind of just barfed it all out of like the transition into like the hook that I have into like the verse that Spencer lays down. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working on it. And honestly, I've never collaborated on a song with somebody like that. And we really were just like locked in. Like there was like a 4 or 5 day period where we were treating that song like our job. Like we were working on it like 7 hours a day. Like it was like shifts of like, we'd get in my room and just like work. And like we would work on ad libs. Like, does this ad lib sound good? Like for like hours on end, and we were like obsessive about it. And then it got delayed for a while because Spencer is a camp counselor in Camp Greenville and left for 10 weeks, so that kind of like halted it because his like internet connection was not the best, and it was just like hard for us to like find a time to like talk about it. And yeah, we just like sat on it for a while, and then at a certain point we were just like, yeah, we just got to put this out. Like we gotta, yeah.
Cool. What programs do you use?
I use Ableton Live.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Rodrigo, you wanna say what you use?
Oh, me? What I use?
Yeah.
I use Audacity's trash. Fucking booty.
I have used Audacity.
Nah, man, you started from the ground up though.
You know, I've never had like equipment myself, or you know, I ended up getting that laptop for free and just write to beats that I hear.
Yeah.
And just go on from that. But like, nah, even seeing you like having the privilege to even see you like do your shit. It's fucking amazing.
Thank you very much. That's very kind.
But as far as like with the lyrics for that second part, like any inspiration with that? Like I know for a fact already. Like I think Spencer was talking about it, knowing that the people in the background, like just talking. You guys had people talking.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as far as the inspiration behind the hook that I laid down, which is like the 4 lines, like I need to catch my breath, I've got somewhere to be, like that whole shebang. I feel like the inspiration for that, I really just wanted to sound arrogant out on the track. I wanted to sound like I felt like I was important. Like that was what we were trying to convey. Is this kind of thank you. We were trying to convey this like I'm a rock star. I've got to be somewhere. Like that kind of like, which is not something that I usually evoke in my music. But it was fun to like kind of like put myself in a character and like express that. And like we thought about adding people talking. We just sampled a bunch of our like friends that came into our room. Like we were like, hey, do you mind if we record? And we pretty much just told them to say whatever the hell they wanted to say. They could say stuff that like we could be like, this is the premise. We kind of want it to be like you're at like a party, you're at a kickback, and you kind of like we're kind of creating that like the soundscape for that, if you will. So we were like, you can act like you're at a party, or honestly, you can say some random stuff. So we had some friends that would like pretend like they're at a party. We'd had some friends that would tell us about their day. We had some friends that would tell us a story from their childhood. And it was really cool to take that and like mix it and pan it and make it kind of feel like you're in a room. And we thought that really complemented the hook of like feeling like I kind of want to leave because I'm like overwhelmed by being in so many people. But yeah.
Awesome. And I remember one of my first times ever like seeing you was at Queersphere.
Yes, yeah.
And I have to say, fucking amazing. You have such a welcoming energy too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You'd think somebody who has a little like I guess clout would seem uptight or whatever. You're such a welcoming person.
I really appreciate
from the moment that I met you. Open arms, always pleasure to see you. Always love it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
But yeah. Also, for other people that don't know, I was fortunate enough to be in one of your music videos for Shatter.
For Shatter, yeah.
So yeah, I know you had a lot of part in like as far as directing it as well.
Yes.
Like as far as the concept with it, how did that come to fruition?
Well, I'll tell you that I wanted to do a video that was one shot and one in reverse. I wanted to do one take in reverse shot for quite some time. And I originally was looking for videographers.
You had to go to the bathroom.
I was looking for a bunch of different videographers, and really the only videographer that was in my budget was this person named Nick Kahn. Really good buddy, great guy. I've shot with him a few times. It's amazing at what he does. Yes, and I originally came to him with the concept of like, I want to do one take and I want to do in reverse. And this was on a Zoom call, and he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, that is a tall order. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. And honestly, we just worked on it. We met one night. We met at like, in the hours that we were working on this were kind of crazy. Like, we'd start working on it at like 10 p.m. And then we'd finish at like 3 a.m. for a night's work. And we would just have to do this math of like, when we were shooting it, we had to like reverse shatter, like reverse the audio for it, and have that playing while we were like moving around this house. And we would put like landmarks in the song, and we would do like beeps. Then I'll put that over in Ableton, like boop, and we would know, okay, we need to be at this part of the song at this point. Cause like I don't know how well y'all know this video, but there's one part where I'm like running, and there's one part where like I'm on the couch at a certain point of the song, and to get that was a lot of fucking math.
That shit was fucking beautiful when I fucking saw that. Even
Thank you.
That still shot and closing up to your face and having everything blur out.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Thank you. It was so much more thought than I expected, but the fact that Nick and I like were able to sit down and do that was an incredible feeling. Like that was to see that happen, and we got like a bunch of extras like yourself to like kind of like add to the atmosphere. Like we have like you making out on the stairs, and we have you like running after us. Like you remember we had to run backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, ho ad boy.
That's
ho ad boy.
with the video ending that way, we had to shoot it starting that way. So it was just like, I don't know. It was a lot. And I remember like, because there's a shower scene where I like get in the shower, but in actuality of like shooting it, I had to get in the shower and then walk backwards into my room and get into my bed soaking wet. And we did several takes, so I like pretty much got wet in my bed 3 or 4 times. And the thing is, I went to bed that night like on top of my bed because it was soaking wet, and I felt so happy because I was like, this was for the craft, you know what I mean? Like, this was for the video, but yeah.
Awesome. But even being there, like seeing you guys do that, is so inspirational. It gives other people a drive to want to do shit like that. And it was like a couple of fucking takes, like just like maybe like 5.
Yeah.
And then you guys had it right then and there, completed.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much, bro. That means a lot.
That means a lot. But yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, fuck. Now that Rod's gone, we can actually get back to the podcast.
Don't do it dirty,
you guys. What do you call it? We're actually gonna go shoot a music video real quick. Check that out soon coming. But yeah, is there anything you want to go ahead and maybe talk about that's coming up? Any projects that you're working on?
I would say really all that's coming up for me, musically, is I am currently working on an album, and I'm very excited about that. It's gonna be called Luna, and it's
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I did see that.
Yeah, and it's related to the whole Cosmo arc. But yeah, I'm very excited for about that. That's gonna be a full length project. I imagine that's gonna be somewhere between 8 to 12 songs. I imagine, but which is the longest project that I've put out. But yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Cool. And as far as anything upcoming, do you feel like are you gonna ever have some merch going? Or?
Oh, absolutely. I plan on doing a much bigger merch run for this album. For Cosmo, I did like some CDs, but for this, I plan on doing.
I saw the little tape too.
Yeah.
So cool.
I plan on releasing way more stuff, but yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, Alex, I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Merch January 8th.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
That's all we have to say.
That's all you have to know. But yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you coming on. Like this was such an honor for us.
I appreciate y'all having me on. It's meant a lot to have a platform to talk about my music and how I feel. And it's been an honor.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you. I know we're gonna definitely have something going on.
Absolutely.
Soon. And yeah, well, we'd love to have you back.
For sure. Thank you so much, y'all.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to say to the fans before we wrap this one up?
Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Caughy. That's Caughy. Stream my music. Yeah, check it out.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
And free broke boy.
Free broke boy for real.